Hey guys, welcome to Celia's playlist. I am so excited today because I am speaking with Jorby, who is an internet musician from Prince Edward Island in Canada. I didn't know that there was a Prince Edward Island, so I'm very excited to hear more about you and the place that you live in. So, Jorby, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Good. How are you? I'm glad to be here.
I'm good. I get to speak to really cool people today, so like I'm doing
Lucky.
great. Well, Jorby, tell me a little bit about yourself and your music project.
For sure. So yeah, hi guys. I'm Jorby. I'm an artist and producer from Prince Edward Island, Canada. I make all my own beats. And yeah, I just like to mess around and do fun stuff with my friends on the internet.
You know, that's how I got to where I am too.
Pretty much.
Because, well, for me, I'm a photo video person. All I wanted to do was figure out a way to take pictures of my
Mm,
friends for a living and have fun doing it.
nice.
So, I
Yeah,
mean, it's it's
see,
it's a
smart.
great motive. It's a great motivator. So,
Exactly.
in terms of your sound, I know that you have a couple of different descriptions of the type of music
Yeah,
that you make. So let's dive into that first because let's give people let's paint a picture for everyone of the
for
types of
sure.
things that you work on.
So yeah, I've got like a whole bunch of different genre stuff out right now, like everything from like shoegaze to like lo-fi and like hyperpop, anything in between. But I am trying to focus more on like sort of cultivating what my specific sound's gonna be. um and yeah, I think I have, it's sort of like a blend of like hyperpop, alt pop, but it takes some like emo elements and stuff like that. But yeah.
I love all of those things. So I'm very excited about our conversation today.
Hey,
So
me too.
let's start off with finding your sound because that's a thing that everyone kind
Mm,
of has to do because if you think about it, I'm primarily someone that thinks in like singing brain, if that makes sense. And
yeah.
I always say that it's like a different kind of brain because I've spoken to
Mm,
someone whose like primary instrument is guitar. And I was like,
yeah.
"Hey, like can you like explain this thing?" Or like I would explain this thing in singer brain, like thinking that
Yeah.
everyone was in singer brain and he's just like,
Mm,
"I don't get it."
right. We
So
all speak like a different language, eh?
exactly. So like obviously communication is important, but
Mm,
that is something that we covered really highly in the last episode.
yeah.
But let's jump into that. Like,
Mm,
where what type of things have you kind of discovered through some of the different areas you've tried to help figure out your own sound? Like I
for
know you're still
sure.
working on it, but like,
Yeah.
it's a journey.
Exactly. Yeah. Um. So I guess my figuring out my own sound, it just kind of like, it really plays back to a lot of my influences. When I was younger, I listened to a lot of like indie rock and like things like Billy Talent or Block Party. Um, I was a little bit of a music snob back then, so I wasn't really listening to hip hop. I don't know why that was, but I listen to everything now. But yeah, it all started there, and then as I got older, I started like taking more uh influences and like admiring more different genres, like in hip hop and all kinds of other things. So I ended up sort of adding that into my like production style as well. Um, but yeah, I think it mainly, my musical sound is mainly influenced by like what I listened to when I was younger, I'd say.
I was listening to a TikTok earlier and it was about how music affects people, like physically,
Mm,
like in their body. And there
yeah.
was like two different things that were talked about. One was like about how it affects your nervous system, but the other one
Mm,
was about how it affects like you in a nostalgic way. So
mm,
like I would say that you saying that the things that you listened to when you were younger coming through now
yeah.
really goes into that nostalgic
Mm.
factor. So for me, like I was a pop punk kid. So like
Oh yeah.
anytime that you see something happening with like Paramore or Fall Out Boy, I'm
Mm.
like, "Ooh, what's going on over there?"
Right.
And then like now with some of the artists that I work with, like that's kind of the area that I'm gravitating
Mm.
towards. So it's cool to hear that like
Yeah.
in your journey you're having like a like journey back towards those original influences as well.
Yeah, I remember hearing something a while ago. I don't know how much fact there is to this, but it was essentially that the music that you favored and listened to, like during the time that you were essentially going through puberty, it's got like a special. It can like it has like special effects on your brain, like it makes all kinds of circuits go off and stuff. But yeah, I think that would definitely play a lot into it,
I feel you. It's like the little sprinkles that just never leave. It's like glitter.
right?
It's like glitter. It doesn't leave. It's
Yeah.
just still there on your brain.
Right. I'll hear a song that I haven't heard in like 12 years, and all of a sudden I'm like remembering all the lyrics. Like,
Oh my god. It's half of
that
my
sort of
brain
thing.
is just music lyrics, but that's besides the point.
Right.
So so I know that you self-produce. So
Mm,
let's now kind of like we're gonna move over to Jorby in the studio.
for
So
sure.
I know that everyone has their own process. So
Yeah.
are you a instrumental like start with the instrumentals type person?
Mm,
Like where do you kind of start? And and are you more of a physical instrument guy,
yeah.
or are you someone that finds your
Mm.
inspiration through going through DAWs?
Cool. So yeah, sometimes it can be like a little different, like here or there, but mainly, I started as a producer first. Like when I was younger, I didn't really have a lot of confidence in my singing voice. So I find most of the time I'll actually like I'll start in the DAW, like I'll make the
Hmm.
instrumental first, or maybe like recently I made like a couple songs, they're not out or anything. But I have made a few songs where like I just heard like a chord progression I liked or had an idea of a chord progression, and I recorded like verse chorus verse, like a full song worth of those like two chord progressions, and then like I just kind of wrote from there, like with the lyrics. But yeah, mainly it's I'll make an instrumental from like whatever inspiration I'm feeling that day, and then like I will I'll start to like once the instrumental's done, I'll start to like record vocals on it. Like I'll sort of like hum melodies, and then like the words come after that. But yeah, that's my general process.
That's pretty cool though, because I feel like a
Mm,
lot of people, and like for someone like me, like I know
mm,
like just enough on different instruments that I
yeah,
understand the instruments,
right.
but thinking of it as like building blocks or steps like that is actually like
Mm,
a really cool and approachable way to kind of start, because you just said
yeah.
like you recorded these progressions and then
Mm,
you took it step by step from there. So it's not
yeah.
like, oh, I have to have every single piece of everything perfect
Mm,
the first time going in the studio. And I feel like that's a block that a lot of people
yeah,
have to get past. So
exactly.
was that something that you figured out through testing was like a good system
Um,
for you? Or
yeah,
was
I'd
that
say.
something. Hmm. Yes.
Sorry, yeah, I'd say it's like it is sort of like a trial and error, I guess. Like for example, there was like years ago, like I worked at McDonald's, and like this bass line popped in my head, and I like the song started from there. But yeah, sometimes there will be like even like a drum beat, like if I hear a drum pattern or think of a drum pattern I really like, I'll start with that and kind of build things on top of it. And yeah, like it can it can really start from any instrument. It's kind of weird, but yeah.
I don't think that's weird. I think that's cool because you're able
Mm,
to kind of
thank
draw
you.
inspiration from other places. Like you just said that you had
Mm,
something come to your head while you were working. Are you someone that
yeah.
has inspiration kind of come to you from different places?
Yeah, I would say like randomly throughout the day, I'll come up with like a line or like a melody, and I'm just like, holy crap, I got to record that or I got to write that down. Just I have like so many things, just like nonsensical like mouth sounds in my voice memos. And then like notes that are corresponding to those voice memos that I have to like figure out what the heck past Jorby was thinking. But yeah, sometimes stuff just kind of does randomly pop into my head, and yeah. It's kind of chaotic, but
I mean, chaotic can be fun
I'm
though, which
happy
is
with
not
it.
always a negative. I actually
Mm,
function very well in chaos, which is why
yeah.
I like, like I like controlled chaos though. Like this is
Exactly.
controlled chaos because like I
For
can
sure.
find out about like someone before hopping on with them, but like until I'm
Mm,
in a conversation with them, I don't know their vibe. It could be
right.
anything. So like that is my way of controlled chaos, and I like that
I
you're
feel
like
that.
you have your version of controlled chaos too. Like
Mm,
I love that you bring up using the notes app, or like bringing
mm,
the voice notes app, because like I know of a singer who the way that he writes is he'll
mm.
be in the car and then he'll just literally like record himself like this
Yeah.
and then send it to the guitar player and then send it, and then it goes to
That's
everyone
funny.
else, so they start
Yeah.
writing on top of like the lyrics. Their whole band is like a chaotic ska punk
I
band, but that's
feel
a
that.
whole other story. But but it's a cool
Mm,
way to like spark creativity.
yeah. Like a buddy of mine, it's very similar in my way too, because like a buddy of mine, we were talking about like a song we're working on, and I was like, wait, I just got an idea. And I'm sending these like super chaotic like voice messages to him, hoping he'll understand, and back and forth. And yeah, it's very fun. I kind of prefer it that way.
Well, I feel like when
Oh, there's
you're
a cat.
working within the arts, it's important to
Mm.
if that is an animal or a child, tell them I say hi. But
Celia says hi, kitty.
amazing, amazing. My puppy is like yelling from upstairs. He's just like, I want to be with mom, and I'm like, you're gonna
Right?
bark the entire time.
I feel
But
that.
what I wanted to bring up is I feel like
Mm.
when you're in the creative arts and you're creating things like this, you have to have that spark or that fun to like
Yeah.
keep that motivation to like finish
Mm.
that song. It
Yeah.
like that's how it is for me with video. If there's
Mm.
that spark and it's like a project that I'm like, ooh, I
Yeah,
get this.
definitely. I
It,
feel that for sure. Like sometimes when it comes to the very, very finishing touches, like mastering and stuff and releasing the song, sometimes I need the friends to like nag me a bit to finish that. But like other than that, the entire process, it's like I do it because I love it.
I love like that is kind of like your motivator, because yeah,
Mm,
like obviously like the mastering is more of like a digital thing. It's more of a
yeah,
like listen and critique type thing, but like
exactly.
writing is more of like a place where you
It's like,
can
yeah, you
go
feel
wherever
your
you
way
want.
through it, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm,
So I guess going back to the fact that you
for sure.
write and produce,
Yeah.
circling back around.
Mm,
So I know that you are a creator of beats.
yeah.
What led you to like starting creating beats? Was it
Mm,
like something that you just woke up one day and was like, I want to write these, I want to do this, or did you
sort
have
of.
like a backstory there? I want to hear the
Yeah.
lore.
So ooh, new Jorby lore just released. So yeah, like whenever I was in high school, it was mainly high school when I actually like started playing instruments, cuz I mean, I've been around music all my life. Like my dad is like an insane guitarist, my uncle played in bands and like all kinds of stuff like that. But by the time high school rolled around, um I mean, I was a band kid as well, but we'll just not talk about. I mean, we can talk about
Wait,
that,
what
but yeah.
instrument though? What instrument though?
Ooh, so I started playing trumpet, and then towards the end of it, I started playing euphonium, which is like
I know
it's like a
exactly what that
smaller
is.
tuba.
Mhm.
But yeah, same trumpet fingerings and all that. So those are pretty cool. But but yeah, like um that was fun. But yeah, I ended up in high school like actually starting to like learn guitar and stuff like that. And I ended up like meeting some other kids who did music in high school, and we just sort of like ended up playing in bands. Like I joined like ended up doing stuff with like a couple bands in high school, so that was pretty cool. Um and then I guess at one point, like whenever you start growing up, you kind of have like a little bit less time, so I kind of was like, dang, I guess I'll be the band. And so yeah, that's when I kind of started learning to play like a bunch of instruments like drums and bass. Bass kind of comes with playing guitar because it's like the same notes on the first four strings, but And I always did like screw around with keyboard and stuff since I was little. So yeah, and then one day my dad bought a MacBook and I was like, what's this garage band thing? And yeah, it was all downhill from there,
I
making
love
beats
that
and stuff.
that's the journey because a lot of people have that journey. It's very much
Right?
like, oh my god, there's GarageBand. Or for me,
Yeah.
like before I had a Mac, I actually
Mm.
have you ever heard of the program Audacity?
Yeah.
I was an Audacity kid. So
Oh
like
man.
I would go home and then I had like a
Mm.
Blue Yeti mic and I was like, "Yes. This is it.
Um,
I'm going to make all of the
right?
music with this." And then my friend would come over and play guitar and then like, you could still like mess around
That's
on there,
awesome. Yeah.
but like, it's having those accessible starters. Like,
Yeah,
like that
for
is like
sure.
a huge thing. So
That's a big part of it.
I guess like for those like
Mm.
there's people of different levels watching like
Yeah,
this show. So like let's go down memory lane. Like what was
for
it
sure.
like having access to something like GarageBand at an age where you're still like in the informative years? How
Mm.
did GarageBand lead to where you are today, I guess?
For sure. This is gonna kind of sound cliche, but I guess when I got GarageBand, it kind of felt like the whole world was at my fingertips type thing. But yeah, it was. I was like, wait a minute, I can like, I just have to hit keys and they can make instrument sounds. This is great. And I even I had this USB mic that came with the game Rock Band 2 and I plugged that in and that was for vocals and it was so funny like yeah, all
I
the
love the DIY
mm,
spirit there because
yeah,
I also had the Rock Band
right?
mic. Mhm.
Exactly. It's like I feel like that was a rite of passage back then for like millennials or like even zoomers I guess too. Like who make music. It's so funny.
I feel like
And
GarageBand was like a big thing. Like not to cut you off, but like that was a
yeah,
big
no worries.
influence on a lot of us. I feel like.
Definitely. It's crazy that they have like band lab now. Like I like to think of like if we had that when I was little, like cause that is so good. It's like almost like a legit DAW.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Well,
it's super sick.
I mean, times has changed. I just remember
Mm,
like I got GarageBand in like
mm,
seventh grade, and I just like I
right?
maxed out all of those things. I was like,
Yup.
I can play my guitar with the five buttons. Look at
Mm,
me through the fire and the damn flames.
right? Exactly. I remember at one point I even like I got this little like program that could translate like joystick from like games and stuff like
I
into
did that
keys.
too.
And I set up the Rock Band. You did that too? The drum set? Oh
Yeah.
my god. And I tried to do stuff with guitar, but I mean 5 keys is kind of limited. But it was so funny to mess
But
around with that
it
stuff.
really is like the inspiration, and like also
Mm,
let's get back to GarageBand and
for sure.
allowed you to facilitate making music like now.
Yeah.
So like let's continue
Mm,
on that
yeah.
journey.
I always loved doing that because like even I was still in like one of my bands I guess to this day I'm technically still in that band but I liked that I could like get down my ideas into like a solid like structure or like song and like so then that way like whenever the time came that the other band members were able to come over I could be like yo look at this idea that we could do or like look at this or that and um, at one point I like really got into making like oh at one point I was like I'm gonna be a video game composer and I just started making like a bunch of like orchestral stuff but yeah I did like everything that I could like anything that interested me, like I was like, I'm gonna try that. Like making comedy songs, old stuff. Those will leak at some point if they haven't already. I think they're on like my old SoundCloud, but like all kinds of silly things like that.
I love that though. Let's
Mm,
talk a little bit about SoundCloud. I have not talked
yeah.
to anyone about SoundCloud yet
Mm,
on this show.
right?
Like so like for those at home who don't know what SoundCloud is, because there are people that don't, can you tell
Mm.
me what SoundCloud is and how people use it?
For sure. So SoundCloud, you can use it for a couple different things, which I'll get into in a sec. But yeah, I guess for those that don't know, SoundCloud is kind of like this platform where anybody can like you can sign up, make a profile, post your music for free. I remember hearing back in the day, like a lot of people, it kind of reminded them of like MySpace. If there's anybody listening that knows what that is,
I was around for
right?
MySpace.
Oh yeah, those were the days. But yeah, like it was. You could have your own profile, like any other social media, and then you can just like upload like all your songs, and like other people see them, and you can also like you can almost like retweet other people's songs onto your profile to be like, yo, look what this look what I'm listening to right now, or look what my friend made. But like something that me and a lot of other friends do with SoundCloud, it's very useful for like the vault, a lot of people call it, where like you're storing songs that either you haven't released yet or they're just ideas you're working on. So like I'll upload like songs like works in progress, and then like as like private links, and then I can send them to my friends and be like, hey, look, check this out, what are your thoughts, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's you can use it for so many things. Like I guess artists have like blown up on it, and like whole careers have been built off that stuff.
I think it's a valuable resource that a lot of people
Mm,
don't realize that
for
is at the
sure.
tip of their fingers. So I'm glad that we were
Oh
able to have
yeah.
a little SoundCloud
Right.
tangent.
Yeah, I still use it to this day too.
I actually had a podcast during the
Mm,
pandemic called Candid
hey,
Convos with Celia Werner,
there
and
you
all of
go.
the episodes went up on SoundCloud. I don't know if
That's
anyone listens
awesome.
to them, but
I'll listen to them.
well, I mean, it's like a time capsule now. It was
For sure.
literally like me interviewing people about like what they were doing during COVID in their different industries.
Yeah.
So
It's like
like
a timepiece almost.
it's like it
Or
really is. It's like a time
period piece.
capsule. Exactly. I did like 70 something episodes and it was like people
That's
in
awesome.
all different industries. So like if you want to know
That's actually
about
really cool.
marriage and divorce in New York during 2020 when
Hey.
everything was shut down, I got the episode for
Mm,
you.
it is an interesting time period to like analyze, like especially I guess for future generations who like aren't born yet or like just growing up now. It's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
cool to look back on.
So thank you past Celia for when I need that in 10 years.
Right? Thank you, Pasilia.
We love
People will
that.
study that.
I mean, hey,
Anthropologists.
it's possible because not everyone documented things at that time, and if they did, it was on TikTok,
Yeah.
and it was them like using filters and just like messing
Brain
around.
rot activity.
So we're coming towards the end of the show, and
For
Jorby,
sure.
I ask this question to every single person, and you can take this any direction. If
For
someone
sure.
was going to start in music now, in any
Mm.
way, what would be your piece of advice for them?
My piece of advice would be uh I'd say try to get as much feedback as possible, and like try not to let it hurt you. And like also if you're thinking of like getting into music, or like you're like, oh, I've always wanted to do, now is the time. Do it right now. You don't even need an instrument. You can record on
Garage
like,
band, garage
yeah,
band.
GarageBand, BandLab, like those are both free. If you have a Mac, you got GarageBand. If you got anything really, you have BandLab. Um, but yeah, like just if you want to do it now. There's really nothing to lose, and like yeah, just like if you're looking to become better, get as much feedback as you can, and try not to like don't give up, because it's we're just all having fun.
I love I love that as the advice because you brought up a couple of different things. One of
Mm,
which being allowing yourself to take criticism.
yeah, right.
I would like to very much just like hop on the difference between constructive and unconstructive criticism.
Yeah. Like it's really important to be able to distinguish. Like if something's just kind of hurting your feelings, you got to learn to like just let those things roll off. Whereas if somebody's like saying like, "Oh, your mix," even if somebody's really mean, they're like, "Your mix is bad." You're like, "Okay, well that's something I can improve." Like try to take the positive out of everything, and like yeah, if you want to do it, just do it, because like I'm somebody like being 31, I am sort of starting taking myself seriously as a musician pretty late in life. Because it used to be like I'd make like one or two songs a year, and then like do whatever. But yeah, now I've made like more songs in the past like 3 months than I made my whole life before that. But
Hey,
yeah.
congratulations. That's a feat in itself because,
Mm,
some people, like you
thank you.
said, one or two a year. that's what they can do. That's what they like,
Yeah, and there's nothing
start
wrong
with.
with that as well.
No, that's actually being consistent. So,
Yeah.
like, consistency is important, but also,
Mm,
like, the fact that you're able to prioritize and you made those
yeah.
steps over time, that you
Mm,
were able to facilitate being able to, I guess, have that much creative time to do that.
yeah. And even if you want to make like stupid joke songs with your friends on the side, like you're still practicing all those skills you'd need. So it's pretty cool.
Well, Jorby, this has been such a fun conversation. I like,
Likewise.
I never know where these are going to go when I start these, but I think I told you, I was like, you have good vibes. This is going to be a great
Hey,
episode.
likewise.
So, Jorby, where can people follow you? Where can people find you? And give me the spiel.
So yeah, for sure. You can find me anywhere that you can stream music, like all the platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, SoundCloud. And when it comes to social media, I believe I'm Jorby is bad, all one word. That's my handle on like every platform. I managed to snag that one, I guess.
That's a
Jorby
fun
is
handle.
bad.
Jorby is bad. Jorby, I don't think you're a bad guy. I think you're actually a pretty fun guy.
Thank you. You're not so bad
So,
yourself.
oh, thank you, thank you. So, thank you for hanging out with me. This was such a fun episode, and for you guys at home,
Same.
check out Jorby. Check out Jorby is bad on all socials, and we'll see you next time. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.